Jamestown is one of the oldest districts in the city of Accra. The district was heavily developed by the end of the 19th century, and following the rapid growth of the city during the 20th century, it became an area of a dense mixture of commercial and residential use. Although in a state of decay following years of neglect by subsequent governments, the district is a popular tourist destination for those seeking to see the remnants of Accra'S colonial past.
It is 5 a.m. in the city of Accra, and the silhouette created on the shore makes the entire atmosphere totally different and a beautiful sight to behold. This small community close to the English Alatamanches Palace is awake and looking forward to a brighter day. Nearby is the colonial-era lighthouse built in the 1930s. This road leads to the London side, a superb spot to witness fishermen haul in their nightly catch. This community is referred to as the fishing village, an enclave almost entirely inhabited by fisherfolk. Though in Ghana's capital city, Accra, the most surprising aspect of this area is its unpresupposing village-like aspect, as the name Fishing Village suggests. It became an entire place of abode for fishmongers who came from all over the country to trade till nightfall. Unable to do a return journey almost every time, these traders erected temporary structures for the night. Gradually, others joined till it became a permanent place of dwelling for fishmongers unable to return to their original homes.
Here was a harbor where big vessels do come and goods are discharged, raw materials are sent abroad. But when the harbor got spoiled, I learned there was a ship that came and it gets stuck in the sand, you see, which means it ought to be dredged. And because of that incident, they stopped using the harbor. It was true that Tama Harbor was built. So this place has now turned into a fishing community.
Although dwellers are engaged in other activities such as cattle rearing, fishing is the main occupation for both the young and old. Irrespective of gender, these little ones in this settlement take to the trade naturally. Many of these children are not in school due to the poverty level in the area. The few who do still would have to help their parents with their trade on weekends and when school is on recess.
I
come to help my grandfather with the trade on Saturdays and Sundays, and also when school is on vacation.
Saturday wire, Sunday wire.
Located directly east of the Korle Lagoon, Jamestown and Ashatown are the oldest districts in the city of Accra. These towns emerged as communities around the 17th century, but were heavily developed by the end of the 19th century. Following the rapid growth of the city during the 20th century, they became areas of dense mixture of commercial and residential use. Today, both Jamestown and Ashatown remain a fishing community inhabited primarily by the Ga, although not in the best of state following years of neglect by subsequent governments. The districts are popular tourist destinations for those seeking to see the remnants of Accra'S colonial past. Just behind me is the fishing community. This is what they live on, and this is their life. Two buildings dominate the waterfront skyline. James Ford, built in the 17th century by the British, and the Dutch-built Asher Fort that commands a striking view over the Atlantic from a perch above the fishing harbour. There is family involvement when it comes to fishing in this neighborhood. There is also a connection between the fishermen and their wives. The women decide the price of the catch. Mary Lai has been supplying fish to retailers for the past 40 years.
I started selling fish at a tender age with my mother. Presently, my husband and sons go to fish, and I intend to sell it out to those who come to buy in bits. The women prefer the fresh fish to that from coastals, as according to them, it tastes better.
Some regular customers tell me why they will wait even in the absence of enough fish to buy at Jamestown.
I'm a resident of Abilinkwe, but I prefer to buy my fish from Jamestown because the price is reasonable.
I am coming from Shiabu in Agege, but I have come to buy fish from this particular village because my customers prefer fresh fish from the sea. I hope to get some fish to buy because I have been waiting for long.
Fishermen have their own way of celebrating, most especially when the catch is good. This, nonetheless, does not erase their numerous challenges.
The use of light for fishing adversely affects the industry, and this is what we are faced with. We really need assistance to deal with this canker, as our next generation will bear the brunt of the illegal activity some time to come. The perpetrators of this illegal act have not started because the sun is on, but they will once it goes down.
This issue of light fishing is very serious. For 7 years in Angola, this activity prevented fishermen from going to sea. How do they expect us to fend for ourselves should this happen in Ghana? We are urging government to do something about it as soon as possible.
Usual with fishing communities, they usually mend their net so they could get good catches every time to avoid the fishes from coming out of their net. But as you can see, I'm with Niyama and his friends and brothers. They told me today is not a good day for them as they couldn't get any fish at all when they went on sea. But they are hopeful of still getting something by tomorrow. So they are busy mending their nets so tomorrow they could get some catch.
From the seashore, the fish end up in various homes, some for domestic and others for commercial use. Sarah Lakotelate has been smoking fish for over 50 years. Though her 5 biological children are deceased, she still has 19 grandchildren to provide with the 3 basic essentials of life: food, shelter, and clothing.
I worked with my mother as a young lady to smoke fish. This is what I've been doing all my life. After smoking, they are sent to the Makola market for sale, and the money generated is what I use in taking care of my family.
Fish is a seasonal commodity. So, how do traders in this business survive when fish is out of season?
When fish is out of season, we buy frozen fish, count the fish in the carton and smoke it. If you are lucky to make some profit, fair enough. But even with the light used in fishing, Now fish from the cold store is expensive.
Madam Lakotelate is also faced with some challenges in her area of work.
We are suffering. It is difficult to get fish these days. My grandchildren took 100 Ghana cedis for premix fuel, but went to sea and came back with nothing. How do you make ends meet in this situation? We stand close to the fire for long, and the smoke affects our health.
In the fishing village of Jamestown, issues that require the attention of authorities are enormous, hence not tied to the apron strings of a few residents.
The sanitation aspect is very poor. Our major problem is the light fishing. For some time ago, almost about a month ago, we had a chat with the Marine Police who came down here, and we gave them our complaints, and they tried to help. We sent them to the beach, the place where when they come, they are going to park their small boat. And we asked them, when are they going to start? They told us that is a security reason, they can't tell us, but due they will start. Only to find out that they said they are short of logistics. So we asked the government to come to our aid, at least to give the Marine Police their required needs so that they can stop this light fishing. If you are erecting a structure, at least you have to see the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. But it seems no one cares, and everybody is trying to erect a structure. Some are even putting up block buildings, which is not supposed to be so. The same law that applies at the top there, that same law should come here. Nobody should come and erect a structure. And hooligans or weed smokers, criminals, this place has turned their dwelling place or something of that sort, you see. I was told in the evening when you come here, you see things which is not fine. So we want the government to come in. At least if the people are doing their work, there's no need for weed smokers, thieves, cocaine sellers, and to come and hide here and spoil the name of this very place. Because it's an old fishing community. There was a time the whole place was pulled down. I think it has been pulled down twice. I wish if the whole place is pulled down, and for us for the government to come in and help, it is only those who go to sea who have to keep their outboard motors, their nets. They will be allowed to stay here.
Irrespective of its problems, this vicinity in Accra is one of the most vibrant. The scene in Jamestown is a rare vision of timeless contemporary Africa, unchanged by modern life and influence, accounting for the old look of its buildings as well. But why is there a need for monumental edifices to be preserved in Ghana?
We need to maintain these buildings, at least some of them, because they are a part of the city's history as well as part of the national history. And they were designed and built for specific reasons. And these are reasons which contributed to Accra as it stands today and to Ghana as it is today. So by preserving them, we can teach future generations what our history has been.
France has been classifying buildings over 100 years before listing began in Britain in January 1950. Currently in Europe, there are many old buildings that date back to medieval times. These buildings have been restored and maintained as an essential part of the tourist landmark. In London, for instance, there are nearly 600 listed buildings and other structures, and these are protected for their architectural and historical interest. These structures, when listed, ensure that the architectural and historical features are carefully considered before any alteration, either outside or inside, are agreed upon. Buildings can also be listed because of age, architectural merit, and the method of construction. They are then graded to show their relative architectural value. However, in Ghana, the situation is sometimes the reverse, as many of such colonial structures are pulled down and sometimes sold for huge amounts. Could this be attributed to the lack of conservation culture?
Because of commercialization of properties in Accra, very many family houses are going. You know, for us, family houses become the bond for people who claim descent from a particular line. When there's engagement for our children, we go there. Funeral, that's where we lay your body and all that, especially among the Ghana. Because of the bickerings amongst descendants, oh, this family house is at a place where we can sell to a Lebanese and get millions of cedis. These houses are now in court. Yes. And as the descendants are divided over what to do with their homes, the homes stand. When they are united, they sell them. And then after a time, the whole building goes down, a new monstrosity is put in its place. And as you drive past, say, oh, my family house used to be here.
While some believe there is the need to keep traces of the country's past, others think architectural designs should fit modernity.
Everything, including putting up of houses in the olden days, was done accordingly. They used the right quantity of cement and sand to mix the mortar for building. When you also maintain it well, it lasts longer.
He quickly added that nothing in the house has been replaced since it was built in 1921. Look at this age-beaten staircase. On the other hand, Mr. Ebenezer Brooke Pakovi, who inherited this 1905 building from his grandparents, tells me he changed the roofing material since the original was leaking badly. He likened his 1905 building to a human being, saying, once you take care of it, it can stand the test of time.
The main importance can be roofing. Local roofing leakages.
It is very important to take care of leakages in roofs. At least once every year, you need also to paint the house and repair all cracks.
Mr. Brooke Pakovi also showed us a 106-year-old padlock, which according to him was used by his grandparents to lock the main gate, which is still in use. With our camera lenses panning through Jamestown, we noticed that some of the old structures have been neatly painted and some turned into offices. There is no doubt that these edifices have history or stories to go with them.
This is where Accra Academy started. O'Reilly Secondary School took over when they left. It was turned into a law court before the Presbyterian Church occupied it. The one who built the house built two and gave one to his wife, hence the name Ellen House. Tenants used to live here, but now I am told it is being sold out. But frankly speaking, I don't know the amount for which it is being sold.
This made me find out from Nunu Amataifiu, who is undertaking an historical inventory, whether it is not high time the country got an innovative project aimed at documenting and possibly drafting a bill for consideration in Parliament to help preserve buildings of historical significance.
It is very, very high time that that be done, but there does not seem to be any political will to preserve them. We are working on a project, an NGO called Accra'S, to which I'm associated. We are working on a project to document all these old buildings, these buildings of historical significance and cultural significance. And we're hoping to get the AMA to create a cultural policy that would help preserve these buildings. We want to do so because they will help in creating a tourist industry in Accra. Currently, as we sit, when the tourists come to Ghana, they stop in Accra for the night, they get onto the bus the next day, and they are whisked off to Kumasi, Cape Coast, or Elmina. They rarely stay in Accra because the assumption is that there's not much worth looking at in Accra. But Accra is full of historical buildings, historical sites, only they've never really been taken care of.
Ghana has 32 forts and castles. Out of these, how many have been protected and made tourist sites? Remember, Jamestown was once the hub for the succession of Portuguese government before becoming the capital of the then British Gold Coast in 1877. Amid the ramshackle streets of today's Jamestown, the colonial handiwork can still be seen despite the apparent poverty. The quarter still makes for a safe and friendly place, and more than anywhere else in Accra, there is an evident sense of community in Jamestown. Although plans are afoot to redevelop the district with the inauguration of the 2015 Old Accra Strategy, it behoves the Archaeology Department, the History Department of the University of Ghana, Museums and Monuments Board, the Ministries of Environment, Science and Technology, Tourism, Chieftaincy and Culture, as well as successive governments to turn attention to this area as it is a potential tourism destination. Colonialism and the architecture of the era, like in Jamestown, remain an important part of our culture and history. There is the need, therefore, to coordinate efforts to restore the dignity of this settlement, predominantly inhabited by fisherfolk, who also contribute greatly to the economic growth and development of the country. Rebekah Awuah reporting.